Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I'm going to make a video on why people get out of the military. A lot of people ask me, why to get out of the military? What are some reasons people get out of the military? Because it seems so great and everything's taken care of. And yeah, I know. So I'm going to just give some reasons why. The first reason is you just did your time. You did your 4 years, ready to get out, move on, go to college, trade school. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people did that. That's most people in the military. They just did their time. And they're ready to move on, or it wasn't really for them, so they just did their time, got an honorable discharge, and moved on with life. And it's great. I commend those people. Another reason is your spouse was going to leave you if you didn't get out of the Army. Now, I'm laughing because it's actually quite sad, but if she was going to leave you over that, and I use she because the military is male dominated, or if your spouse was going to leave you because you didn't get out of the Army, they were going to leave you anyway. And 9 times out of 10, it ends up not working out anyway. I made a video earlier why marriages after the military fail, and that's one of the bigger reasons. Another big reason, PT in the morning. My God. Me and about everyone else hated getting up at 5 in the morning to go do organized PT. It is, you're probably still hungover from the night before, and it sucks, and everybody hates it. But there's always that one motivated person who's like, yeah, I love this, let's do PT, and you want to punch him in the face. It sounds kind of stupid, but that is a reason people get out. They hate getting up early in the morning and going to do PT. One of my personal reasons I hated doing PT is one of the places I was stationed at was Fort Drum, New York. Now, New York, that's so cool. For those of you who don't know anything about the state of New York, Fort Drum is located about 20 miles away from Canada, and it is frozen solid, like Hoth in Star Wars, 9 months out of the year. I'm talking you would wake up in the winter, it's so cold, seeing your breath in the morning, having to wake up 20 minutes early just to put on warm clothing, just to walk across the street, just to be told in your formation, all right, strip down to your t-shirt and shorts, we're going for a 5-mile run. So that is a very big reason why people get out. The pay. Everyone knows it's no secret, you're not going to get rich in the military. If you do get rich in the military, you either won the lottery, had invested some stocks at the right time, or more than likely you did something really illegal. For me, I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, so a lot of my money went to whatever bills, and the rest was kind of fun money, but it still wasn't a lot. And there were times when I was like, having to kind of in between paychecks, and I know a lot of people who had families who were on food stamps and other things. That's something the military don't like talking about, how many of their members were on food stamps because they didn't have money to buy food and clothes and everything else for their kids and their wife. You're away from your family. That's a big thing. People with families, in the military, you're gone a lot. You're either on deployment, you're in the field, or you're just at work until 10 o'clock at night because your leadership doesn't want to go home and deal with their family, so everyone else has to be miserable. That's also the reason why a lot of marriages fall apart in the military. You're just not home. Watching people get promoted over you. Now, I'm not talking about the superstars who are just awesome and they're really motivated and they learn everything about their job. I'm talking about the people who damn well they don't deserve to be promoted. I'm talking about the ones who they're nothing but kiss asses. They know nothing about their jobs. They've got multiple disciplinary actions against them, a couple Article 15s, and they brag about it. But because they've improved so much in the eyes of the commander, they get to go to the promotion board. They're the ones getting recommended. And then they become your supervisor and make your life miserable. Housing. Living in the barracks. All right, military housing is not that great. It's actually pretty substandard. You've seen the videos on the internet and everything like that. I had a couple times I had great barracks rooms. Most of the time I didn't. They were usually really cramped, tiny. They're already dirty from neglect, so you had to spend a lot of time cleaning, and you just couldn't get these things clean. They were so neglected. That's the reason people get out. You actually use your skills that you learned in the military. The military does have a lot of competitive jobs, especially in the medical field, the cyber field. You just find a better job. It's a free market. I know it sucks, right? Toxic leadership. This is the biggest thing. I had some outstanding leaders in the Army. I had people I would follow into the depths of hell. I also had a lot of times leaders that just were pathetic people. I had leaders that got multiple DUIs, nothing happened to them, but the E1 through E4 blew a .08, having a beer too many after dinner. They're demoted in rank, put on extra duty, kicked out of the Army, career was ruined. I had NCOs who went out of their way to just make their soldiers miserable because they didn't want to go home at night, so we'd be there at 10, 11 at night. Had a platoon sergeant who went out of his way to make his soldiers less miserable. He didn't know what he was doing as an NCO. He was actually promoted to E7. His last unit in Japan, he had never deployed before, had worked really hard to make him look great so they could just get rid of him. So he'd have to move. There was a time in Afghanistan when we were getting, smoked and, because he had a bad day and he said, oh, y'all are so disgusting and dirty, and dumped laundry detergent on us. And then picked up a gas can because he was too stupid to figure out the difference between a gas can and a water can. It says it right on the can. And dumped gasoline on us. Then told us to keep our mouths shut about it. And then when the investigation took part, nothing happened to him. He was allowed to retire with full benefits and 100% disability because he was a sick call ranger. And he had a pill problem. He was routinely drilling himself, nodding off in sleep. He was always urgent care to the hospital with some pain. He was on profile all the time. Never saw him take a PD test, although I know he pencil whipped a couple of them. Had another soldier I was with basically knowingly turn in dual college transcripts. That's two sets of the same college transcripts from different universities instead of one set plus the extra classes, which you're supposed to do, and then brag about it. He ended up getting promoted. We had a staff sergeant who got away with basically forging government documents, theft of government property. What he was doing was he was a supply sergeant who was also the acting S1. S1 is the personnel people who do all your paperwork, make sure your records are right. So he was basically using the supply accounts in the Army as his own personal eBay. He was also forging government documents for soldiers so they get promotion points. I'm talking with, they had an entire platoon sitting in Afghanistan in an infantry company full of 18, 19-year-old infantrymen. They could suddenly read, write, and speak Cantonese, Vietnamese, Chinese, both Mandarin and whatever the other dialect is. And all he got was 6 months in prison and a dishonorable discharge. We're saying, well, you got dishonorable discharge. It doesn't really matter. You should have gone to prison for 20 years. In the civilian world, you'd be in jail for about 20 years. The blatant abuse of rank, basically, well, I'm an NCO, so I don't have to do that. There were cases of NCOs, blatantly sleeping with their soldiers' wives and bragging to them about it, just to fuck with them. Nothing happened. Multiple DUIs they would get, and just nothing would happen. Multiple DUIs, no reduction in rank, no extra duty, just a letter of reprimand. There are two that I know of that had 2 and 3 DUIs, didn't get demoted from E5 to E4, are now E7s in the Army. So that's one of the bigger reasons people get out. People also get out for, one of the biggest reasons I heard was it's just not the Army I came into, and that's true. The Army has changed a lot. It changed a lot in the 11 years. I'm talking 3 uniform changes, the way things were done, training was done. The Army became a lot more sensitive, and it sucked. It became really politically correct. So there are a lot of people hitting their 20-year mark going, I'm done, I'm out. Or people who were like, they were at their period where they either had to get out or re-enlist indefinitely, chose to get out. And I think the sad thing is a lot of people stayed in because they couldn't do anything else. This goes back to toxic leadership. The ones who bragged that they had a 10th grade education, that they could reading with their finger, who had no idea how to write a counseling statement, who were abusive to soldiers, who went out of their way to haze soldiers. Now, I'm not talking about hazing like when you duct tape your new lieutenant to a litter just to have fun with them. That's tradition. Hazing them because they were new or they just didn't like them because they weren't, into the same stupid shit they were into. So, yeah, that's why people get out of the military. It sounds shitty, but it's why.